What video game made you rage quit and you haven't played the game since? Fable 3. You could join another player and complete missions with them. I was 3/4 in, joined my brother and encountered a bug we weren't aware of. We did a media blackout. It causes you to lose all of your gear, your kick-ass sword ... everything. So when I returned in my game, I had nothing anymore. I got so angry, closed the game and never finished it. I had that happen to me. I was max level on all the skills and I joined my stepsister, and when I went back into single player my character had the bottom level stuff for everything, but all the chests were still open on the road to rule, so I couldn't even get it back without restarting the game. One of my favorite games. I remember playing the original Fable on Xbox and loving it. Unfortunately I only played it shortly while my brother was borrowing it from his friend. Ended up getting it years later and finishing it. Fable 2 is my favorite. I had just learned that it's backwards compatible, so it's currently 90% installed on my phone. Fable 3 is great, but the ending was kind of meh. I quit when I learned that you couldn't work money back up if you choose to be a good king, which for some effing reason being the good king f's you over financially. Which is complete and utter bullshit in the first place, and wait to finish the main quest like most RPGs. Just sends you right to the effing final battle with next to nothing. You can make all the money you need with real estate investing. I pulled all the money out of the royal treasury and bought property, and then reinvested that back into more land. Eventually I had like x3 what I needed with like 100 days left. Unfortunately it skips those 100 days and out me right into the ending with absolutely no money. That's when I quit. My dad rage quit Wii Fit because it called him obese. My parents got me and my sister Wii Fit when we were kids. As an older teen I went back to it and immediately quit when it said I was obese. Realized far too late it was because the game thought I was still about 4 feet tall because my stupid ass forgot I had to change my height. Bubba is you. Because idiot is me. I haven't rage quit. I actually really like the game. But some of those levels you feel like you have a huge breakthrough after like an hour of putzing around just to find out you only solved half the puzzle and the other half is just as hard. Foo man, it is a tough game. 10/10 would recommend though. I loved the game. We always played as a group. My friend and me were the logic part and we had a third guy who brought in the crazy ideas. Won every single level without Google. Yeah, sometimes it gets pretty annoying. I think you can divide the game in two kind of levels. You have the levels where you complete it by using previous used rules and weird and new combinations. On the other hand, there are levels that are completed by using some kind of weird rule that you never even learn to use and can basically only find by pure luck. At least that's my experience. The annoying part is that you can spend half an hour trying stuff without any visible progress at all because the solution can often be made in under a minute. I had a set of rules that helped me really enjoy the game. 1. If I've spent longer than 30 minutes or so and haven't made any progress, switch to a different level. Sometimes stepping away from a particular problem and spending more time with the mechanics can help to get a better grasp on them. 2. If after coming back to a puzzle I couldn't beat I still can't figure it out, then just look up the answer. I've got very little leisure time these days, and it was just too hard to justify all of the frustration I felt when I was supposed to be relaxing. And most of the time, the solution was something so out there that I didn't feel bad at all for now knowing the answer. Not rage quit, but I entered an online tournament in Tekken 7 and got destroyed on stream, while the commentator said I'm bad at the game. This discouraged me so much I haven't played since. I've been playing Tekken since it was in arcade only. The community eventually pushed me away. They still downvote me for sharing comments that go against whatever the community has decided is acceptable. So now I rarely even comment on what was once my favorite game franchise of all time. As a fellow Tekken player I need to tell you that everybody sucks. You will never not suck except you are like Evo Top 16 or something lol. I am just semi-joking, but I think sucking at fighting games is part of their appeal since there is so much to learn and so much depth to everything. An online tournament organizer who just calls out newer player is just messed up. I remember the commentator on my first online tournament encouraged me on stream, and that's what experienced players should do. So keep at it, buddy, don't let people like that ruin the game for you. Had that happened to me. My first match in a Smash tournament was on stream. Got my ass handed to me, which was fine with me. I thought the commentators would give insight on what I was doing wrong and I would take it to improve. I couldn't be further than the truth. They kept complimenting the other guy and kept saying how I was a warm-up and this dude is nothing compared to him. I don't know why, but it really messed with my mentality in future tournaments. Tekken community got worse as it is now the most, not sure if Street Fighter is ahead, popular fighting game. Community will defend every single thing and get so annoying claiming that every fighting game player should be playing Tekken and it is the hardest game ever, it ain't even the most difficult 3D fighting game. People were claiming Akuma and Leroy were not broken while everyone was winning with them. Evo Japan this year had 6 Leroy players in the top 8. Tekken is a great series and 7 is one of the best, but Jesus did the community worsen. There exists a picture of baby me sitting on the floor, wearing diapers, holding a PSX controller in my hand and playing Tekken 3 with my mom. I've played Tekken all my life, and I suck ass at any title in the series. Ass. Especially Tekken 7. That being said, people like that commentator live for taking any opportunity to shit on other people. It's sad. They're sad. Tekken is all about casual fun, not becoming a perfect player. Because becoming a perfect Tekken player is damn near impossible, if at all. Don't know how much this helps now, but those people that get in a lifestyle of playing a certain video game to the point where they are a commentator or a long-time tournament player tend to get extremely pretentious about the game as a whole. You probably weren't bad at the game. You just weren't nearly as good as the people that you were playing against. I'm not bad at soccer, but there are thousands of people much better than me. Man, I was a religious Tekken player. It was literally the only game I would play. I lived online on it from Tekken 6 all the way up to 7. I put the game down for good a little after Season 2 was released. I actually can't stand the Tekken community, it's too toxic. Couldn't believe I wasn't actually having fun on my favorite game anymore. From the constant hate mail for winning and people trashing on me because I lost to them, I just got fed up and deleted it. I do miss it sometimes, but I doubt I'd ever return to the game even if the new characters look pretty good. Man, I was a religious Tekken player. It was literally the only game I would play. I lived online on it from Tekken 6 all the way up to 7. I put the game down for good a little after Season 2 was released. I actually can't stand the Tekken community, it's too toxic. Couldn't believe I wasn't actually having fun on my favorite game anymore. From the constant hate mail for winning and people trashing on me because I lost to them, I just got fed up and deleted it. I do miss it sometimes, but I doubt I'd ever return to the game even if the new characters look pretty good. Personally, I can't really enjoy a game if there isn't a prospect of victory. I don't enjoy losing, as I'm sure most don't either. I can have fun in a neck-and-neck game where I lose, in any game, really, but I've never once had a good time getting absolutely dunked on or carried like a sack of potatoes. I don't have the patience nor the will to practice on any game. If I'm not somewhat competent from the start, which I almost always am, except in a few genres like 2D fighting games, then I don't play, simple as that. I'll get better at games I enjoy and can win in, I just stop playing games where I can't win and or don't enjoy. Echo the Fooing Dolphin. Aggravating pile of shite. 25 years later and I still feel the rage bubbling up at the thought of it. Holy shit. This fooing game. It was the only game I didn't even know what I was supposed to do. I've played plenty of games where I quit because it was too hard or just unfun, but this is the first and only time I sunk hours, into the first level of game not having any fooing clue what the damned premise even was. Just stuck in that damn area forever with a ring that didn't do anything, FIFA foo, that scripted piece of shit of a game. So when I was younger I used to play FIFA at a very high skill level, and was invited to playtest FIFA 15 because of it. It was common knowledge among the top pro clubs teams that being 3-0 would make it more difficult. The scripting was in place to make the games more balanced. People don't want to play a game as an average player come up against someone good and get beat 8 or 9-0. It's demoralizing, I assume, and would stop people wanting to play. To see how the scripting would work, you can kind of do it offline versus AI. There is a feature which has sliders that you can put up to increase the team's ability, accuracy of shots, power etc., and put down on the opponent. So if you want to score 45-yard screamers every time you can, same here man. Foo that piece of shit. Anyone that thinks momentum or scripting or WE isn't part of the game honestly has no awareness or is purposely being obtuse. It's bad enough when you fooing trample somebody but your 93 AVG strikers can't hit the broadside of a barn, but then even when I win it's not satisfying. I've had days where my opponent was clearly better, but I literally couldn't miss no matter who is shooting and from where. They'd miss like 4 one-on-ones with my keeper but then I'd run up and hit a 30-yard banger. My players would close gaps, on their own, so I'd smother any attack from my opponent. For him, his defenders did foo all. I could shoot and run through their players like they weren't even there. I've had the opposite happen as well. The game is honestly broken, it's a cash machine so I don't expect changes. But I'm disappointed that the game I grew up with is such a gigantic cheap piece of shit in 2020. I stopped buying it after 2018 and my quality of life is honestly better. Foo this game. Most sports games have what I call the equalizer. Notice the same thing in Madden. Get a solid lead then all of a sudden your defense is slower and not as tight 50-50 balls always go their way etc. It's not realistic ... at all. Not that guy but about 5 years ago a lot of EA sports games went from physics-based systems to animation-based systems. I don't play FIFA but a good example is field goals in the Madden games. In the old physics-based system, blocking field goals depended on skill, player stats, and a little bit of luck. If you could get your player's model to touch the football's model, then the kick was blocked. It led to some wacky scenarios, but it was at least semi-realistic. In the animation-based system, the whole play is on rails. You can tell from the first frame if the kick will be blocked or not based on which animation starts playing. From reading other comments, it sounds like FIFA runs on the same system. Instead of physics-based shots and steals, it's determined by weighted RNG and pre-built animations. It makes the game look a lot better and run smoother, but sometimes it feels like you're watching a cutscene instead of actually playing the game. Occasionally there are moments that I know the opponent will score based on the sudden decline in my ability to defend and the opponent's sudden insane ping-pong passing. I sense that a score is imminent before the opponent crosses midfield. There doesn't have to be any build-up. It will be a wild Hail Mary cross with a ridiculous header goal or my defenders idiotically stumbling over each other and the ball just bouncing into the net. It is infuriating. I love the game, but I'm ready to switch tips to see if I can avoid these terribly frustrating moments. Not a FIFA veteran by any means, but I'll give it a go. A scripted game is one where, no matter how good you are at the game, its programming will predetermine the result of the match. Obviously, the player is never informed of this, so the game makes it seem so it's not rigged. One example of this would be a situation where the player had like 15 shots on target, but the goalkeeper somehow saves every one of them and then, on the last second, the AI gets a lucky cross and scores. Sorry if my explanation was a bit convoluted. Like I said, I'm not a pro, I just can't even with that game. EA Sports owes me too many PS and Xbox controllers, it's not even funny anymore. I was a dedicated FIFA player since the 90s, but FIFA 19 was a joke. I don't play online, just managerial seasons and stuff, but that game brings out an evil in me I didn't know existed. Players have the turning circle of a bus, so by the time you get the ball, you're already tackled. Doesn't matter if you have Manuel Neuer or some rated 50 goalie, They are all shit. Their defenders run like Usain Bolt. But my defenders get constantly out of position or left behind by their attackers. They can shove you, as you're running through to get a through pass, but it's never picked up. The refs will always foul you. They make the same tackle, it's all good. My footing players run into each other, and get into each other's way. Like WTF. Don't even get me started about the pitiful way they tackle, where the ball just bounces wherever the fooet wants to. Generally back to the attacker, and then your player is fooing off somewhere else. To sum up, I hate that game. Check out our other videos and subscribe, and leave your suggestions and experiences in the comments below. Have a great day.